Good evening, everybody. I'm super excited to be here with you tonight. So thank you, Jackson, for the invitation. I'm going to be talking about generative AI for e-commerce. And our mission is to help store owners and marketing managers be able to tell beautiful stories about their products, because pictures sell products. So I'm going to be talking about that. And just by a way of a little background, I imagine there are a lot of entrepreneurs in the audience. I mean, we are in Silicon Valley. There's a lot of entrepreneurs who are not in Silicon Valley who are building businesses around their dinner table in the evenings, or in a small office in other parts of the world, right? And they're building e-commerce companies. And one of their biggest challenges is how to tell a story about their products. So for them, being able to show what their product is in a lifestyle shot in context is the way to connect with their audience. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our team, just to give you some context. We're all ex-Googlers. We came from Google's AI research team, from YouTube, from some of the social media products at Google. And we thought, how can we make generative AI and also computer vision super easy for this audience to apply to their business? And personally, I grew up, and my mom and my dad both ran side hustles, selling things online. My dad sold sports collectibles, and my mom sold baby gear, and that's what helped put me through college. So they didn't have any marketing budget. So what if they could have a tool that could look like they had a marketing budget of $1 million, right? So that's what we've built, and I'm going to focus on demoing that to you tonight. And with that, let me just jump into a little vignette here. So let's pretend that we're a small e-commerce company that sells plants. So here's a site called thesil.com. Shout out to them. They're a real company. You can see they have some pretty beautiful product imagery here. And you can see they've really taken the time and care to show their product in context, right? They have potted plants that sit on the floor. They've got, things for your office, maybe things for your living room or your kids' room. And it costs tens of thousands of dollars to make these images. So typically, you've got to hire a photographer, you got to rent out a venue, you got to get some props, and then that could cost you $20,000. And maybe you can only do that a few times a year. And then what you end up with is some very stale photography. You got to commit to a couple shots, and then you're reusing this content, say on your Instagram feed, week after week, and you fatigue your customers, right? They see the same content. So that's a problem. Secondly, they can't really customize the content. Once you make the pictures, it's expensive to change them. You can't really, target it towards certain audiences. And so we said, hey, well, how can you make it so you can make, content that's really relevant and personalized for all the people who you're going after in your target market? So those are some things that when we spoke to a lot of small and medium-sized store owners, they said, yeah, this is a top challenge for me. I'm hearing about this AI, but it's so much work to actually get it to perform and be reliable and consistent in the enterprise use case, just to make something for my website. So with that, we built SceneCraft.ai, and I'm going to jump over here. So I'm just going to log in. And by the way, you can try this product today for free. We have a 2-week free trial for our SaaS app, so you can try it tonight. Also going to show you our free mobile app, which you can download and use right away. So anything you see here tonight, you can use and play around with. So I'm going to log in here. And just to give you a little visual tour of what's going on, I'm going to go to Studio, where I can make imagery. And we have built a lot of best practices into this product. So we learned from talking to a lot of users that fiddling around with prompts and trying to use a lot of open source or free tools is very challenging. And so we said, hey, let's make it very simple. So you're going to upload an image, then you're going to inspire a scene, which is a way of helping kind of drive the vibe of the image you're going to get. We'll generate scenes, and also we'll generate captions to help tell a complete story based on the images that you generated. And then we can publish them right to Instagram. So I'm going to pick a plant since we're talking about selling plants tonight. So let's see here. I'm just going to pick this plant here. I can drag and drop it here and upload it. And right now we're using computer vision to analyze the product. So one of the things that we're doing is understanding like what's the product itself, what's the background, what things might you want to keep. Soon we'll be launching some editing features to be able to point and click and edit the product. So you don't have to pixel push, you don't have to do Photoshop, you don't need open Canva. You can do it all with just very high level, like I want to keep this, I want to change that. So now we're on the step where we get to choose a scene. We can choose from a catalog. Say I just want to like browse and see some different options. I'll pick home here. So we have all royalty-free, high-resolution, quality imagery. So if you say, I just want to browse, I don't have a lot of images I'm starting with, you can go here. So let's say we want to put that plant in the kitchen. So I'll pick this scene here. And then I'll just, I can kind of resize it or place it so it's kind of appropriate for this, kind of the perspective here. And then I'm going to generate. So I'm going to generate some scenes, and this is happening in real time. And so we're using a proprietary model. So this is something that we've built starting with Stable Diffusion, but doing a lot of additional proprietary improvements that allows us to have the ability to make very high quality images that most importantly preserve the quality of your product image. So one of the biggest challenges of using like a Midjourney or Stable Diffusion off the shelf is that it will distort your product. You can't trust that the details are going to be preserved. And so that's something that's a very important distinction for using something like generative AI for images you're going to put out on your website or on your social feeds. So you can see the images here, they are retaining the look and feel of that original catalog image that I selected. So they're all different and fresh, but they're the same kind of style. So this way you can make sure like you're getting something that is new, but also kind of within your goals for your brand and to make it brand consistent. So we also learned from talking to a lot of store owners that, I can make images, but then I got to write a caption about it. Like I got to post it on Instagram because it's about frequency and freshness to keep your audience engaged in these social channels. And so we enable you to create a caption right here in the workflow. So you could say, here's a pink and green rubber plant that is perfect for freshening up the look of your kitchen. And I'm going to generate captions now. We're actually looking at the content of that image, again, using computer vision to understand what's in it and how do we take that simple description of the product and then apply some best practices to make Instagram-worthy caption, right, with emojis and some of the hashtags and things that are proven to resonate and drive traffic for your posts. So you can edit those, all this is editable, and then we can publish it. So here you can preview what the content is and be able to publish this directly to your Instagram feed. So that's a workflow that gets you to not just creating content, but actually, kind of putting the rubber to the road and getting the horsepower out of this to drive traffic back to your store. So that's kind of the workflow to publish things. I'll show a couple other examples here. So to start over here, say you have a very specific scene in mind. We used the catalog there, but what if, say, I want to take, I'll take a snake plant here, and you notice the original plant had a lot of, there was a background in this here. It's in another scene already, but what we're doing is extracting that. So now the plant can be reused and you're not beholden to the original background. So here I'm going to describe a scene. So this is where I just had one already typed out here. I'm going to make the prompt. I'll just zoom in here. Say I want to put this plant in a home office in an urban chic apartment. The window looks out onto the Manhattan skyline. The plant is on the floor next to a desk. And let's hit generate. So here I also have the opportunity to position it and figure out roughly where it will be in the scene. So I'll put it down here. And so again, you're probably familiar with text to image models. What's new here? Again, it's making sure that your product is preserved, the quality of the image, the placement is incorporated into the scene, the description of the different elements of the room are all done in a way that it'll compose a complete scene. And also I'll note, because the quality of diffusion models is still evolving, right? We know they're not 100% perfect. So we've got a few examples here. This one, the plant not quite on the floor. That happens sometimes. So we allow you to generate more images, and we don't have any kind of limits. You don't have to buy credits. You don't have to worry about going over some monthly quota. So we want people to use the tool and experiment with it. Because we have built our own back end and we are doing this in a very efficient way, we allow our users to make a lot more content and not worry about hitting some limit each month. So here's our plan, kind of more interesting scene here. So there's a lot of new things coming. We're going to be offering a connection to Shopify stores. So you'll be able to link your Shopify store in one click. You can import your products, you can reuse them, and you'll be able to do this in a simple way that you can reuse your assets. So that's coming, and also analytics to see the content that's performing best. And soon we'll be able to generate content for you that you can auto-approve based on what has been working for you in the past. So this is something that we're excited to be launching in some upcoming releases. So with that, I have covered what we're doing in our web app, and this just came out last month. And so this is still in beta, a new product, but we are excited for you all in the audience here to use it. Now we also have, from talking to all of our users, learned that a lot of people do their own stunts in that they are using their phone to do their own product photography. So we also have a companion iPhone app, which I'm just going to quickly demo. So you can see that experience, and it's pretty cool. You can kind of teleport objects just with a click. So I'm going to switch to my phone here and mirror my screen. Well, we may have to do this later, but basically with our iPhone app, you can take pictures and be able to do similar things right from your phone. So this is where if you have already accumulated, hundreds or sometimes thousands of product photographs, you can quickly iterate and experiment, with different filters on your photo, to be able to generate images on the fly, and then post them directly to Instagram, for example. So I will take Q&A. If my iPhone does connect, I'll do the rest of the demo. But maybe for now, just to keep things flowing, we can go to Q&A. Yeah, we do use it internally, and so we do want to expose it at some point for bulk operations and allowing people to do some of their own custom kind of apps on top of it. We started earlier this year, so is one of these things where we saw the interest in generative AI, and then looking at our team and the things that we the problems we were passionate about. So it was time to build this. Initially, we are looking at the performance of content on Instagram. So that's step one. Our roadmap does include looking at the sales data and even like the seasonal and calendar data, other signals, to be able to incorporate into a model which could be more predictive of which content, which products even to recommend or to promote when. So that's step one. Step two is actually making the content for you. So that is where it gets exciting for small store owners to have these like AI superpowers and optimize their bottom line, which is what ultimately we want them to be successful with. We have trained models to do a number of things in this product. So I mentioned computer vision, a number of steps, which is analyzing the content and then being smarter about how you generate that, or how to generate new content, right? Based on what kind of product is it, how big is it, what sort of scenes does it naturally fit in. So those models we've built and have trained on some of the kind of dual 3090 machines in my basement. If that means anything to anybody. And then also, we do have some big training runs we'll do on the cloud providers, which so far we've been able to keep the costs pretty reasonable, just being smart about what we can do to fine-tune models rather than build them from scratch. We're targeting the SMB store owners. I think of Shopify merchants as very much a good fit for that. And for us, there's a lot of headroom, right, in that market. If you think of even companies like Klaviyo, who recently filed for IPO or did IPO, there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there, again, who are building companies, selling things, and building big brands. So you think of also direct-to-consumer brands who've grown up. The burden for them is to build a presence in the market. They're not selling on Amazon. They're not leveraging the tools of like an Amazon. They're having to create traffic to their own store, and that is where content marketing and the sorts of things that we help with really make a difference. Because of the way we built our backend, like they're both using the same backend, so they made it very flexible to be able to make a new channel to deliver this product experience. So the mobile app does have some cool features, some experimental features. You can make videos in the mobile app, be able to connect a few images together and make it into something that's more like an Instagram reel. So check there to see some new features like that are coming out soon. We've just launched recently, so we have a lot of users, and some of our marketing is more like being helpful to the early users and like understanding like their use cases, what feedback they have. So that's the stage we're in right now. But a lot of the things that we can do to reach these customers are just meeting them where they are, right? In social channels, it's easy to create content for them automatically and send it to them. Right, for them to be able to say, "Oh, wow, that's something I'd love to have. I want more of that." So we're a product-led growth company. We're not doing enterprise sales. So we're building these tools internally to be able to scale, getting content in front of customers that they can then opt into, using the product to generate it themselves. ChatGPT for various, kind of copywriting sorts of things. We do a lot of stuff with open source. So a lot of the tools and things that we get excited about are things that are in, GitHub repos, not so much tools that we're using off the shelf. So that's how we tend to circulate like what's going on in the research world and what can we apply, and again, make it super easy for our audience to use and get value from. We have been looking at a number of different ways of improving, call it basic background removal, right? Like understanding like what it is in a scene that's important. And because sometimes people might take pictures, again, like their mobile phone of their product with lots of things in the background, and sometimes they might want to retain a few things from that scene. So understanding how to be smarter at breaking down a scene, that's where we're looking at some open source models that we're excited about. So one of the things that the generative models are doing is looking at the lighting effects. So if you look in some of the examples I showed, the reflections are done correctly. The shadowing, like if there's a light source on the one end of a room and it's brighter and it's casting some shadows on objects, we'll replicate that when we place the product in the scene. So that is something that it works today in most cases. Sometimes it gets it wrong. So that's I think continually area of research for generative in general. But I'd say it's coming along very quickly. Like the realism is growing. We're doing a number of things in how to refine the initial output to then do like automated quality analytics to see is the quality of the generated image good, or should we regenerate parts and do that automatically for the user? So that's part of the magic of making this kind of bulletproof for users so they don't have to fiddle with it. Yes, yeah, we will support Facebook as well, like Meta, kind of their different properties. It's interesting. We hear TikTok is kind of the number one thing that users want. They're not interested in Pinterest, surprisingly, even though Pinterest is more of a product-oriented site. So I think if you look at where a lot of people are learning about products and getting excited and talking about them, I think Instagram and TikTok are still the number one areas. Yeah, I'd say there's a few different sorts of image generator tools out there. A lot of them are very general purpose, and you'll find they do great for making artwork, for making kind of general. Show me a picture of like a dog walking or astronaut riding a unicorn, which is fantastical, or just show me just a scene of a living room, with wine on the table, a glass of wine on the table. The difference is that those don't know how to make your product fit into those scenes, and they're not trained to be generating realistic photography. A lot of them are skewed by having seen a lot of sketches or other sorts of content that's not relevant for our user. So point being, there are some tools that are doing it for product imagery, but there's not too many of those. I think part of what we're doing is making a whole workflow so you can not just make the image, but also make the content and copy around it and get that feedback loop of what works for your bottom line. And that's part of how we look at the problem versus just running and making pretty pictures. Yeah, I mean, I've been in a few different roles in the kind of whole tech world, from big companies like Google to also startups and also on the VC side. I would say right now, this whole trend around AI is truly interesting and exciting. I studied AI a long time ago for my undergrad and graduate work. It didn't work. AI doesn't work for a long while. Neural networks and all that stuff was, they just didn't work. You didn't have enough data, not enough compute power, not enough of all the ingredients. But yeah, you've heard this before, and now it's working. But I think the applications, the stuff that we're talking about tonight, is the exciting part, because now these things, these models, these techniques are starting to be relevant for a lot more people and a lot easier to use. And the UX is much more exciting to experiment with for your average user, your average consumer. So I think this is super motivating for a lot of people. It's probably why you're here. Super motivating for me and my team. So yeah, I'd say I'm very bullish on the next 10 years of building stuff that's AI helping solve real world problems.